Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are opening up a file that, at first glance, looks like a standard travel guide. But as soon as you peel back the cover, you realize it is something much, much stranger.
It really is. We're looking at a stack of research called Germany Group A, and it honestly just dismantles everything you think you know about the country.
It does, because usually when people talk about Germany, in a geopolitical or economic sense,
Right, you treat it as the single monolithic block. You think of efficiency, maybe strict rules, engineering. It's one big, solid object.
exactly.
Yeah.
But this research, it argues that Germany isn't one personality. It's actually 5 distinct subpersonalities, all sort of fighting for control of the steering wheel.
I love that image. And the source material doesn't just call them regions.
No, it actually gives them human names.
Mm.
It anthropomorphizes them. We have Addie, Bannock, Kenny, Mac, and Liz.
It sounds like the cast of a 90s sitcom.
It really does. But these names, they represent 5 specific ways this culture solves the problem of just existing.
And that's our mission for this deep dive. We aren't just looking at where to find the best pretzel. We're exploring these 5 cities: Cologne, Hamburg, the Ruhr, Frankfurt, and Berlin, as like psychological coping strategies.
How do you handle pressure? How do you handle your past?
How do you relate to your neighbor? Each of these personas has a radically different answer.
So let's map this out. We're going to start with the emotional heart of the operation. The research calls this persona Addie, which corresponds to the Rhineland, specifically Cologne.
Addie is the perfect place to start because it contradicts the global stereotype of Germany the most.
Right. If the world thinks Germany is cold, distant, and rule-obsessed.
Then Cologne is what the research calls Germany's emotional release valve.
A release valve. That implies there's a lot of pressure building up elsewhere that needs to be let out.
Precisely. You have to understand the context. Cologne is ancient. It's rooted in Roman history, and it's deeply, deeply Catholic.
But the research points out this isn't a rigid, guilt-ridden Catholicism.
No, not at all. It's a lived Catholicism. It's culturally open, incredibly humorous, and based on forgiveness.
There's a local motto mentioned in the notes that I absolutely love. Zizek is infiniter canators,
Every fool is different.
which is such a refreshing way to view humanity. It's basically saying, look, we're all weirdos, we all have our quirks, so let's just accept it and have a drink.
It's a profound statement of tolerance. And the research argues this isn't just a nice slogan, it's a survival mechanism.
The survival mechanism.
Well, you have to remember, Cologne was absolutely flattened during World War II. The devastation was total.
Wow.
And when they rebuilt, they didn't focus on restoring the perfect architectural lines. They focused on the social fabric. They prioritized togetherness.
And nothing screams togetherness like the Kölner Carnival. The research calls this a state of exception.
It is. And it's not just a weekend party. It starts on November 11th and goes all the way to Ash Wednesday.
That's a huge commitment.
It is. But sociologically, it's fascinating. It is a structured suspension of the rules. For those months, the hierarchy is inverted. You mock politicians, you sing songs in the local dialect that everyone knows by heart, and you link arms.
That arm linking, the Schunkum, the notes say that's practically mandatory.
You can't do it alone. You physically need the person next to you to stay upright while you sway. That is the Addie persona in a nutshell. Resilience through connection.
Okay, we have to talk about the service culture there because this cracks me up. The notes describe the Cobes, the traditional waiters.
Ah, the Cobes. If you go there expecting the customer is king, you are in for a rude awakening.
They're the authority figure.
Completely. They're often grumpy, they'll make jokes at your expense, and they control the beer.
And the beer system is unique, right? They serve Kolsch in these tiny glass cylinders.
0.2 liters. Basically a test tube. And because they're so small, the beer stays cold and fresh. But the rule is, the waiter doesn't wait for you to order. As soon as your glass is empty, they just replace it with a full one.
So it's just an endless loop of beer.
Until you surrender. The only way to stop the flow is to physically place your coaster on top of the glass. It's a signal.
I bet.
I'm done. But it's part of that Addie vibe. We'll take care of you. We'll keep the flow going. You don't even have to ask.
And then there's the food pranks. I saw a dish called Half Han. My high school German tells me that means half a chicken.
And that is exactly what they want you to think. You order it, and they bring you a rye roll with a slab of cheese and some mustard.
It's a cheese sandwich.
It's a classic Cologne joke. It keeps you humble. It fits that Addie persona, perfectly playful, a little self-mocking, never taking life too seriously.
Okay, so we've met the warm, loud, messy friend. Now we are traveling north, and the temperature is dropping. We're going to Hamburg. The persona is Banach.
And we are moving from the soul to the steward. Hamburg is the gateway to the world, but the personality is, well, it's a whole different beast.
The word Hanseatic keeps popping up. Can we unpack that? Because it seems to define everything about Hamburg psychology.
It's the key. The Hanseatic League was this massive medieval trade network. Hamburg was a key player. This created a class of merchant elite who were incredibly wealthy, independent, and deeply understated.
So this is old money energy.
The oldest. In Cologne, you show your emotions. In Hamburg, showing off, whether it's money or feelings, is considered incredibly tacky. The Banach persona is defined by reliability and silence.
There's a phrase here, nicht lang schnacken.
Don't talk too much. Or, more bluntly, stop chattering and just do it.
That is brutal efficiency.
It's about being a steward. A steward's job is to manage the goods, steer the ship, and make sure the transaction happens. You don't need to shout, you just need to be competent.
But the research highlights a really cool contrast here. It's not just stiff guys in suits. It's a port city.
Exactly. So you have the wealthy merchants, but you also have the sailors, the red light district, the grit, the Reeperbahn, St. Pauli.
This is where the Beatles started, right?
Yeah. They didn't cut their teeth in Liverpool. They became a real band playing 8-hour sets in these gritty Hamburg clubs.
I love that. The Beatles sweating it out in the Banach persona.
It fits because Hamburg values authenticity just as much as Cologne, but a different kind. A working class, maritime authenticity. You see it in the food, like labscouse.
I'm looking at the photo of that. It looks challenging. It's bright pink.
It's a pink mush. It's corned beef, beetroot, mashed potatoes, and usually a herring and a fried egg on top.
Wow.
It is not pretty, but it is functional. It was designed for sailors, high calorie, made from preserved ingredients, and you can eat it even if your teeth aren't great from scurvy.
And Fischbrötchen.
A fish sandwich, a roll, a piece of fish, maybe some onion. That's it. You grab it, you eat it standing up, you keep moving. It's fuel for the steward.
So if Cologne is about belonging and Hamburg is about responsibility, let's look at persona number 3. We're heading to the industrial heartland, the Ruhr region. The persona is Kenny.
Kenny is the backbone. This is a fascinating area because it's not just one city. It's a cluster of cities, Dortmund, Essen, Bochum, that sort of merged into one giant industrial organism.
And the story for the Ruhr in the research is surprisingly touching. It was the engine of the country, coal and steel, and then lost its primary purpose.
It's the classic Rust Belt story, but with a very German twist. When the mines closed and the steel moved away, the region didn't just collapse. It underwent Strukturwandel, structural change.
That sounds like a corporate buzzword.
It does, but the reality is beautiful. They turned the factories into culture. Instead of tearing down the blast furnaces, they turned them into parks. The Zollverein coal mine is now a UNESCO World Heritage Site. It's treated like a cathedral of labor.
But what about the mindset? If you take away the mining, do you lose the Kenny persona?
No, because the values remained. The core value of the Ruhr is solidarity. I mean, think about it. Underground, in a mine shaft, it doesn't matter who you are. You rely on the person next to you to stay alive.
That creates a deep bond.
A deep, unpretentious bond, which explains the greeting, "Glück auf."
That's the miner's greeting, right?
Yeah, and it's so poignant. It means good luck, but literally open up. As in, I hope the mine opens up for you, and I hope you come back up to the surface.
And people still use it today.
Even in offices. It's a reminder of that shared risk.
The food here seems to mirror that. We see currywurst again, but also something called Pommes-Schranke.
Barrier fries. You know the red and white barrier at a railroad crossing?
Sure.
It's fries with ketchup and mayonnaise. Red and white.
It's poetic in a very greasy way.
It's honest. That's the word for Kenny. Honest. The dialect is blunt. The music, like Herbert Grönemeyer's anthem Bochum, is gritty and emotional, but not flowery. The motto is, what must, that must.
What must be done, must be done.
Exactly. The Ruhr doesn't complain. It endures. It's the backbone.
Okay, let's leave the grit and jump on the high-speed train. We're going to the one place in the notes described as Manhattan, Frankfurt. The persona is Mac.
Mac is the processor. If the Ruhr is the muscle, Frankfurt is the brain. It's a city of skyscrapers, which is very rare in Germany. It's the home of the European Central Bank, the biggest airport.
The research describes the vibe as efficiency obsessed. It says Frankfurt's mission is to turn time into value.
It's a city of systems. In Cologne, you connect with people. In the Ruhr, with materials. In Frankfurt, you connect with abstraction. Money, flight paths, data.
The notes mention that Frankfurt is often unloved by other Germans. Why is that?
Because it lacks that romanticism. Germany loves its forests, its Gemütlichkeit or coziness. Frankfurt is transactional. It's a city where people come to work, make money, and leave.
But there has to be some local flavor, right? It can't just be spreadsheets.
Oh, there is. But even the local flavor is distinctive. They drink apple wine.
Like cider.
Much more tart, almost sour. It's an acquired taste. And they serve it with green salsa, a cold herb sauce. But again, look at the language. In Frankfurt, the local slang is Babelnet.
Don't babble.
Don't talk nonsense. Don't clutter the channel. It's silence for the sake of efficiency. The expert insight here calls this system power. MAC calculates.
Which brings us to our final stop. We have seen the heart, the steward, the backbone, and the brain. Now we are going to the exposed nerve, Berlin. The persona is Liz.
And Liz is in a category of its own. If the other personas are about stability or work, Berlin is about rupture.
Rupture is a strong word.
It's the only word that fits. Think about the last century. Capital of an empire, center of a dictatorship, bombed to ruins, divided by a wall, then reunited. This city has been broken and glued back together more times than any place in Europe.
The research quotes the famous description. Arm, aber sexy.
Poor but sexy. It's brilliant branding. It took the city's lack of industrial wealth and turned it into a virtue. We don't have money, but we have culture. We have coolness.
This persona, Liz, seems to value reinvention above everything else.
That's the ick factor. Ick is the local dialect for I. Berlin is hyper-individualistic. The promise of the city is, you can come here and become someone else.
And we have to talk about the club culture. The notes say places like Birking aren't just discos.
No, they're institutions. In Cologne, the party is inclusive. In Berlin, the door policy is famously strict because they are creating a safe space, a kind of utopia for the marginalized within the walls of an old power plant.
And speaking of resistance, the service here is famous for being difficult. The Berliner Schnauz.
The Berlin Snout. It's aggressively direct. A bus driver might yell at you. A waiter might roll their eyes.
Is it just rudeness?
They would call it honesty. It's that exposed nerve again. They don't fake friendliness. They confront you. Just like the city confronts its history everywhere you look.
And the food mirrors this. The doner kebab is the icon here.
Exactly. Adapted by Turkish guest workers in Berlin, it became the street food of the nation. It's practical, cheap, delicious, and totally unpretentious.
So we've toured the 5 regions. We've met Addie, Bannock, Kenny, Mac, and Liz. I want to bring this all together with the body metaphor from the source material.
This is my favorite part of the analysis. It asks us to stop looking at the map and start looking at an organism.
Let's build the body. Cologne.
Cologne is the laughter, or the heart. It keeps the body emotionally alive. It reminds the body to breathe.
The rear.
The Ruhr is the spine. It's the physical strength. It holds the structure upright and bears the burdens.
Hamburg.
Hamburg is the hands, the steward. It handles interactions with the outside world. It loads the ships, does the work, quietly and competently.
Frankfurt.
Frankfurt is the brain. It calculates, it manages the energy resources, which is money. It ensures the nervous system is firing efficiently.
And Berlin?
Berlin is the nerve, specifically the exposed nerve. It feels the pain, it remembers the trauma, it prevents the body from going numb.
This metaphor really explains why there is so much internal friction in the country.
Oh, absolutely. The brain, Frankfurt, looks the laughter, Cologne, and thinks, you are wasting time and resources. Stop drinking and get back to work.
And the hands, Hamburg, probably look at the nerve, Berlin, and think, why do you have to be so dramatic all the time?
Exactly. And the spine, the Ruhr, looks at all of them and says, I'm carrying all of you, so shut up. But the key insight is that the body needs all of them.
It really reframes the concept of power.
Right. Frankfurt has institutional power. Berlin has political power. But Cologne has social power, the power to bind people. Hamburg has operational power. And the Ruhr has material power.
It makes you realize that German culture doesn't really exist as a single thing. It's a negotiation between these 5 forces.
That's the best way to put it. A constant negotiation.
So for our listener,
Yeah.
this is a cheat sheet. If you're planning a trip or working with the German team, don't just go to Germany.
Right. Ask yourself, what kind of energy do I need right now? Do you need to decompress and connect? Go to Addie. Do you need to focus and build? Go to Mac.
Do you need to challenge your assumptions and maybe get yelled at by a bus driver?
Then you go to Liz. You'll love it.
I think this is such a useful framework, not just for geography, but for life. We all have these voices inside us.
That's true. We all have a steward, a clown, a boss, and a rebel inside.
So here's the question I want to leave you with.
Yeah.
We've looked at the anatomy of a nation. But if you look at your own life, your own role in your family or team, which organ are you? Are you the laughter that keeps the mood light? The spine that carries the load? The hands that get it done? The brain that plans? Or the exposed nerve that feels it all?
It's a tough choice. I'd like to think I'm the brain, but honestly, I'm probably the hands. I just like getting the job done.
I am definitely the laughter. Or at least I'm the guy accidentally ordering the cheese roll thinking it's a chicken.
The have-han gets the best of us.
That's it for this deep dive into the 5 faces of Germany. Thanks for exploring the map with us.
Until next time.
Keep diving.